everybody, my name is Xaphan, and welcome back to some more Everlasting Summer. I was going to do at least the bad ending yesterday, but I was just a bit tired and I've been standing up for a while. So, yeah, so we're back at it. We're going to do the bad ending now. It's day 6, so the next thing I got to do was... I was just hungry, and I'm not going to spoil that. So... I stood up obediently, took my toiletry bag, and went outside. I didn't want to talk to the camp leader at that moment. A lecture was clearly coming. A hard one, too. But I better put it off as much as I can. After all, I always did things this way. Trying not to fall asleep on my feet, I somehow made it to the wash basins. The cold water knocked some sense into me. Maybe I should pay Slavya a visit. I still have some time left. Just to tell her I'm sorry. On the other hand, why should I justify myself? It was her idea. And what did I do wrong? Besides, once again getting myself into a silly situation where all the odds are against me. I took a deep breath and went back to Olga's cabin with the firm intention of proving myself innocent, or at least showing that I'll stand my ground. But the room was empty. I sat on the bench, on the bed, and dropped my face into my hands. I need to come up with an excuse. Now, I have a nice and believable excuse. If she won't believe the truth, well, that's not surprising. If I was her, I wouldn't have believed it either. Nothing worthwhile was coming to me. I was just sitting there, gazing at the sunrise. Oh? The door swung open silently and the camp leader came into the room. Olga, I'd still like to explain to you that... No need. I looked at her surprised. I understand everything. So, you do understand that it wasn't what it looked like? Why, it looked exactly like what it was. I don't want to condemn either you or Slavya. I understand everything. Puberty, hormones, all that kind of stuff. I sighed tiredly, and laid my head down on my hands. What do I need to say to make you believe me? Nothing. I said already, I understand everything. You don't understand a thing, I muttered under my breath. Okay, head over to the lineup. I stood up and dragged myself lazily along with her. But could I at least pay her a visit? Of course not. The camp leader looked at me with such surprise, as if my question was something completely inappropriate. I've already warned the nurse not to let you in. Well, am I allowed to know how is she at least? Well, it looks like Slavya is actually sick. I didn't manage to ask how serious it was, as we reached the square already. Go and take your place, now, Pioneer! I took a place next to Electronic. So what happened yesterday, brah? He whispered to me. What are you talking about? Well, you suddenly disappeared, brah. I was worried, brah. I mean, come on, brah. You can't just disappear like that, brah. Well, nothing special. Telling everything to the entire camp was the last thing I wanted. After all, if even the camp leader got us wrong, then what would the others think? Though I've already started to think that it's not entirely wrong. The entire lineup consists of a roll call and an announcement that the shower room is closed today for repairs. Finally, the pioneers ran for breakfast chatting happily. I miserably followed them. Frankly speaking, I wasn't in the mood for eating at all. After hanging around the canteen doors for a while, I turned around and headed away. I don't know how it turned out this way, but eventually the infirmary appeared from nowhere in front of me. Looks like my autopilot just kicked in. I stared at the door, at a total loss. They won't let me in anyway. What can I do now? Should I wait for Olga's sentence if it ever comes? Should I wait until everybody in the camp knows? And that's even worse! Wicked glances from everywhere, the alienation. That is what will happen for sure. No, I haven't done anything wrong, but in the enclosed circle of this bizarre society, such behavior would be treated, if not as a sin, then as a serious deviation for sure. And that means that I've already got nothing to lose. I knocked without hesitation. Just a moment, Pioneer. I pulled the doorknob, but the door wouldn't open. It's locked? Ho! 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 In a few moments I heard the key turning in the keyhole and the nurse appeared. Good morning, Pioneer. Hi! I answered confidently. Well, you know that you're not allowed here. Well, I do, but if you'd... Nah, that's not the way things work, Pioneer, she said playfully. A camp leader's order is an order after all. If you ask me, personally I don't find anything immoral in your behavior, but Olga... Maybe I can do something. No, you can't. I looked at her angrily, turned around and walked away with theatrical slowness. I didn't know what to do next. I just pressed forward, punching the tree that stood in my way. Oh, big man! Big man punch trees! Big man! I recovered from this burst of rage only when my hands were hurting badly and my lips were bitten until they bled. And the most interesting thing is that all my unbelievable awakening in an unknown pioneer camp has turned into the most trivial life drama. A drama as stupid as my entire existence. Yet again, I did something wrong. I thought something wrong, and then they got it all wrong. Fine then, just let everything be. Nobody was near the canteen. I sighed in relief and took a place in the farthest corner, hoping that nobody would see me. Somehow, stuffing my breakfast in, I was about to leave already when Miku dashed up to my table. Oh, good morning, Simeon. I kind of overslept today. Can I take a place here next to you? She sat down straight away. Well, I'm kind of leaving already. Is it true that you and Slavya are like that? Well, you know what I'm talking about. She stared at me closely, blinking her eyes. Who told you that? Well, one would expect the rumors to spread fast. But not that fast. I started to slowly go into rage mode. I heard it from Xenia, and she probably heard it from Chizkov, and he heard it from Olga. I don't want you to misunderstand me. It's not my business, but if you don't want to, then don't answer. But if it's not a secret... You're right. I don't want to answer. I stood up and quickly headed towards the exit. It was a hot day. This amplified my anger since I don't like the heat. Neither do I. Right now, though, anything could drive me out of my wits. But I had to make up my mind now and how to conduct myself. I didn't want to run into anyone, so I went into the forest where I could think calmly. Having stopped in a glade, I sat on a stump, took a stick and started to pick at the ground with it. There's nothing that's up to me. All I can do is simply wait. But, in fact, what can I do? Assault the infirmary? Even if I succeed, what comes next? Try to bring Olga to her senses? Hardly possible. Funnily enough, the whole enigma turned into a simple, everyday situation. If it was happening in my world, there would be no problems at all. Come on, really. What's the problem? Even if I did sleep with the girl, who cares? Even if I was actually 17, even then nothing terrible would happen anyway. It would be slightly more awkward, but still tolerable. And now what? I'm not the master of my fate. Although, was I ever? Is there anything at all that was up to me in my entire life? Have I ever reached any peak that I was seeing? And now, once I've reached one, I can't hold my ground. Maybe I was just a spectator from the very beginning. My mystical appearance in this camp, all the local residents, all the events that happened to me, all that is just a weird game, and I'm only a pawn. Well, if that is so, I'll still play out my role to my best. I got up and headed to the camp, prepared to take no prisoners. The plan wasn't completely finished in my head, but I've already made up my mind already. There was no one at the camp leader's cabin. I rummaged through the cabinets and packed up my sleeping bag, my winter clothes, a flashlight, and some other garments I found. I came out and immediately ran straight into Alyssa. Going for a hike? I don't think I got her voice right, but it's been a while since I've done her voice. Yeah, for a hike. I reassured her. Well, take care! That's it, that's her voice. She gave me a sly smile and went on her way. I hastened my steps to the infirmary. The nurse is a human too in the end, so eventually she will go to lunch. I hid in the bushes, waiting, like a stalker. Time flew by fast. My thoughts have settled and I had a firm decision. I haven't thought my plan out beyond the first steps. I simply didn't care. The most important thing is that I act the way I think is appropriate, and whatever happens next, let it happen. At last, the nurse came out of the infirmary. She looked around and, noticing no danger, locked the infirmary with the key and quickly went towards the canteen. As she went around the corner, I got to the window in a few bounds and started to hectically knock on it. Slavya showed up soon.
Semyon, what are you doing here? You're not allowed to...
How are you feeling?
I'm fine, but Olga told me to stay here for another day.
She told me something completely different. Okay, get out, I said with confidence.
What are you talking about? What for?
She asked fearfully. Get out now, I'll explain everything later. She looked at me closely for a while, but then opened the window without further argument. Oh, we're running away! I helped her to jump to the ground.
Okay, what's next?
Let's go. I grabbed her hand and made my way to the forest. Slavya stopped a few minutes later.
Semyon, just what are we doing?
What's wrong? Do you think that everything was right the way it was?
No, I don't, but it'll be even worse this way.
Why? We have a right to act the way we think is correct.
Okay, but what will happen next?
I haven't thought about it yet. Every step in my plan had gone quite well until now, but I wasn't keen on thinking even one step ahead. Take a look. I opened the bag and showed the things I took from the camp leader's cabin.
And?
Slavya looked at me inquiringly. I don't know. Well, we'll stay in the forest for a while. Show them that our opinion matters.
But that's stupid and childish.
Well, if you don't want to. She gave me a lemon table look.
I'll do as you say.
These words gave me the creeps. As you say. Nobody ever said anything like that to me. In any case, I think this is the best decision for now.
Alright.
Now they're chilling. I laid the sleeping bag on the ground and we sat on it.
So, what are we gonna do?
I don't know. I've never been so close to utter failure. Okay, yeah, I know this is like I know this kind of thing is like we're rooting for love. We will prevail. Love always prevails. But, I mean, something quite similar happened to me in real life like this. And it's just not fucking worth it, really. Like, the way it turned out, it was just nowhere near worth it. Like, coming from actual experience. I've been so close to utter failure. No, I wasn't questioning my choice, but indeed, I had no idea what to do next. What would you suggest?
It would be nice to have something to eat. Have you brought anything with you?
That was exactly what I'd forgotten. No, I haven't. I replied slowly.
That's fine.
We kept sitting in silence. I wonder if they'll look for us. Even though if they do, they're unlikely to succeed. The forest is big enough. But food. By the evening, I'll get hungry too. Okay, stay here. I'll be right back. No! Oh my god! Why is Semyon so stupid? Ah!
Where are you going?
To get some food.
Maybe we should go together?
No, I'll be right back. I headed back to the camp at a rapid pace, leaving Slavya alone in the glade. No, don't do that. I'm absolutely certain that she won't go anywhere and will wait for me. I wish I was as certain that I'll remember the way back as well. Even if they haven't started to look for both of us yet, then surely they'll have found out that Slavya is missing, so I have to move more carefully and try not to get noticed. In general, every single pioneer was a threat now. Not only those who knew me, such an obvious kidnapping will surely be known to everyone in no time. And while getting to the canteen in a few sprints was not hard at all, I had no idea what to do next. I can't just walk in there like nothing happened. Are you hiding there? I almost jumped out of my skin. Olyana was standing right behind me. Getting hungry? She stared at me. Come on, why so quiet? I was tongue-tied for a moment and couldn't think of an answer. So, why have you come? I was just hungry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Much to my surprise, Oyana didn't ask any awkward questions. In the blink of an eye, she zipped out of sight through the doors of the canteen. I was wondering whether I should trust her and wait, or I should flee before she returned with a backup. However, Oyana interrupted my doubts quickly as she reappeared in a couple of minutes with a plastic bag in her hands. Here you go! The bag was full of buns and had a few packs of kefir in it. But why? Well, 'cause it's brave and cool. She smiled slyly. Best regards to Slavya. Ah! Oyana! You're the man, Oyana! You're the man! Oyana waved goodbye and ran away. I stood there for some time in confusion, but then went back to the forest. Oyana's a good ally, man. I mean, before she was like fucking shit, but seems like she's a good ally to do this because she's a sneaky bastard too. So she probably went, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna help you out with this shit." It was completely unlike Oyana, but frankly speaking, I was thankful to her. In the end, I couldn't get food by myself during the day without getting myself into trouble. Upon getting back to the glade, I found Slavya sitting on the sleeping bag in the exact same pose. Here, I gave the bag to her.
You got it so fast,
she said excitedly. Well, I found help. Slavya gave me a questioning look, but I didn't go into details. We ate busily without saying a word. I sighed with satisfaction in the end. Good. Really good.
Yeah,
agreed Slavya.
So, what are we gonna do now?
Maybe you have any suggestions?
About what?
Well, at least about how to deal with the camp leader.
I don't know. And are you sure?
Yes, I am. I interrupted her. This is an act of protest after all. She must be aware that she can't order me. I stuttered. Order us around. I feel like I've said something stupid. Even if I was indeed Olga's errand boy, Slavya was...
You're funny.
She gave me a cute smile.
We could just go and talk with her. But if you want to sit here and wait, I'm fine with it.
I tried to talk to her.
Are you sure you did it the right way?
What is the right way? To be honest, I didn't know the answer. Such an awkward talks were always something of insurmountable task for me. I bet if I knew how to deal with such cases, things would go another way. Of course, since I was afraid and blaming myself, there was no chance to be confident. I don't know. Slavya burst into laughter.
What? Nothing. I just feel like a princess who was saved from the evil witch's castle by Prince Charming.
I looked at her carefully. While all this sounded quite romantic, I thought that what Slavya had just said was absolute nonsense. But generally, Olga as an evil witch, it makes some sense. Yes, the similarity is definitely there. I said it, spelling out every word.
And princesses are given no choice in such cases, usually.
Slavya continued in a cryptic tone. Given no choice? That's impossible. It's me who has no choice here. Just sit and wait until I get back to my reality by some miraculous chance? Does Slavya have anything in common with me? She is a role model pioneer, hardworking and beautiful. She has hundreds, if not thousands, of options. Probably this is the moment I've been dreaming about all my life. Such an unreachable girl as Slavya, not only sitting next to me, speaking and laughing, but completely depending on me. But is it a good or a bad thing? And what should I do next? There are no more questions than answers. When it's hard enough to make decisions about my own life and take responsibility for my own actions, how could I do that for both of us? Before now, I'd keep myself distant from such problems in the hope of everything resolving on its own, without my input. But I couldn't act this way now. And not even because of the fact that heaven only knows where and in what time I was. You know, I could be wrong. Slavya looked at me inquiringly. We won't achieve anything indeed by just sitting here. And not just that, it is stupid and childish. You were right.
What should we do then?
Let's go. We got up. I took the sleeping bag and headed to the camp holding Slavya by the hand. Oh! 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 Shit's getting real! Yeah! Soon we came to the square where Olga was standing as if she was waiting for us. Oh, she is pissed!
Long time no see,
she said angrily.
Do you have something to say to excuse yourself?
And this is the last choice. We have no reason to justify ourselves. I replied obnoxiously.
Oh, really? Okay then, so you think all of this is normal? Fine.
She paused for a few moments and turned to Slavya.
Go to your cabin. I understand that you're not the one to blame.
Slavya didn't move an inch. She just lowered her eyes and held my hand even more tightly.
Slavya!
As you can see, she doesn't want to.
What did you say to seduce her? Fuck's sake! Shit's getting real!
Oh my god, I said nothing. I started losing my cool. Why do you think we've done something wrong? We haven't done anything at all.
As if I haven't seen it.
She grinned. So what have you seen? She paused but continued a second later in the same tone.
I've seen enough.
Wow, you're so good at drawing conclusions, getting a job in the secret police.
Stop it with your rudeness.
I didn't even think of starting it, I said sarcastically.
Okay, your time is up, and I'm not willing to continue this pointless argument. You're grounded till the end of this session.
Oh, really? And how are you going to manage that?
I'll lock you down in the cabin.
And what if I object? Olga gave me a surprised look. It was just now that I realized a crowd was gathering around us. Oh! Oh, shit's getting real! I could spot Lena, Alyssa, and Olyana in the crowd.
What do you mean by object?
Said the camp leader slowly. I meant exactly what I said.
But you can't. A true pioneer?
Well, that means I'm a false one. Olga paused as if she was pulling herself together.
You think I can't force you?
And how would you do that? I laughed emphatically, ignoring the various mystical forces that I was least concerned about right now. The camp leader indeed had absolutely no idea about enforcing anything.
You know what?
What? It looked like Olga already understood that she had lost, but still couldn't admit her defeat because of her pride and her position of eldest and wisest in the whole camp. Komsomol was a youth division of Communist Party. Young people who failed to join generally were treated as outcasts in the society.
I'll send a report to your school. You won't be accepted to the Komsomol. You won't be able to join the party.
I had no way to respond against such serious threats.
Accept it. You have no choice either anyway.
Slavya, who had kept her silent until now, intervened the matter.
Olga, why do you assume you're right from the start? Why is Simon always to blame for everything? What's so special about what's happened? What have we done wrong? Are you even sure of what you're blaming us for? And if it was anyone other than me standing there, would you act the same way? Slavya, you should know that. That's the point. I know everything. I know you. I know that Semyon hasn't done anything wrong. I know you're prejudiced against him without any clear reason, by the way. Even though he is trying his best. Yes, it looks awkward at times, but I know he puts all his energy and his heart into it. And you're going to blame him just because he's the way he is?
I was charmed by Slavya's monologue, listening to it without really getting whether she was praising me, declaring facts, or stating her opinion, which is probably prejudiced. I guess her exact words flew over me. Just the melody of her voice was enough for me. It hypnotized and carried me away from this sick woman in stupid pioneer camp, while calming and healing the wounds in my soul.
Okay, I don't know what to do with you anymore.
Olga calmed down a bit.
But don't think that I approve of your behavior.
She turned away, sliced through the fuck words! sliced through the crowd and headed toward her cabin. I expected a storm of applause like in American movies, but crowds started to dissolve quickly as the show came to its end. And Oyana just winked at me slyly. Wink.
Well, you know, we kind of overdid it.
I looked at Slavya. She was smiling. No, not at all. I'd be arguing with her until late at night, and you nailed it right and clear. I wouldn't get the right words like that, even if I had an entire week to think.
Oh, come on.
What? That's the simple truth, not a trace of lies or flattery. She gazed in my eyes and burst out laughing.
I just said the first thing that came to my mind, and this is how it turned out.
Your first thought is the right one. That's how the saying goes.
I guess it is.
I just noticed now that we're still holding each other by the hand. After feeling a bit awkward, I tried to pull my hand free, but Slavya didn't let me. This gave me chills for a second.
Where will we go?
I had no desire to go back to my cabin. Strictly speaking, I didn't want to stay in the camp at all. What would you say if I suggested we return to the forest? Slavia looked at me with surprise. Well, you know, it's just sometimes...
Okay, let's go!
I wasn't expecting such a quick response, and had no idea how to finish my sentence. I was just going to tell her about a feeling I get sometimes, when you want to go somewhere outside of your comfort zone. At least for a while, at least for a couple of hours. I used to do this before quite often, visiting foreign districts or even neighboring cities. New places and sceneries calm my heart and help to realize that the world is not limited by my apartment walls or the daily route to university or the workplace. And thus, there are people who are doing better or worse than me. And so my typical problems are not as bad as they appear to be. I suddenly smiled.
What?
Nothing, I just remembered. Never mind, let's go! We headed to the forest, still holding hands and drinking the beautiful Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew, please sponsor this video. Eventually, we came to a glade, probably the one where we sat an hour ago. Or it could be a different one, as I couldn't distinguish one from another.
Here?
Slavya gave me a questioning look. No, let's go further.
Okay.
After another half an hour of wandering through the forest, we came to a small lake. What a nice place.
You're right.
Slavya smiled enigmatically. Then I suggest we stop here.
Nice place.
I put the sleeping bag on the ground and sat on it. Slavya did the same. And what are we gonna do?
I don't know. It was your idea to go into the forest.
Yeah, mine. I had to make a decision once again. Well, I had absolutely no idea what we could do. We could talk, for example, but about what?
Oh, come on. Don't get so anxious.
Slavya laughed. I'm not.
I can see you are.
Well, it's just because...
It's fine.
As you say. I sighed and stared at the ground.
Maybe you can tell me about yourself?
Well, there's nothing really to talk about.
It's impossible that there could be nothing of interest in a person's life at all.
How so? I'm an example of that.
You just...
She hesitated.
Could it be that you're not telling me something?
Like what?
I don't know. Like you're hiding something from me.
But why would I?
How would I know? You'd know better.
Well, I don't.
You said it like...
How?
Not right.
Slavya laughed again. I'm not sure that anyone but her would not be so calm here. Okay, so what do you want me to talk about?
Well, tell me about yourself. Anything interesting that happened in your life.
Right now, I was definitely sure that there was nothing interesting in my life at all. Okay, let me think. I had a smart face. When I was a kid, like 5 or 6 old, I guess, there was a small hut near my family's country house. A solid one, made from wooden boards, with a tar paper roof, so it could be used as a bomb shelter in case of war. So one day, I was sitting on top of it with somebody and suddenly fell off. There were some beds of strawberries behind it, and during those split seconds that I was falling, I thought, that's it. The Grim Reaper had come for me, and my entire life ran through my head. A life just 6 years long, but still. So I fell onto those beds and obviously didn't feel anything, as there was plenty of soft ground there. So that's the story. Slavya laughed.
But that's so silly.
I didn't think so at the time.
What about now?
I don't know. I guess it is.
Fine. Tell me something else.
You'll call that silly too.
No, I won't.
I started to think again. Also, once I fell into a pond from a bridge and almost drowned.
Your stories are all...
Slavya said in an annoyed tone. I told you, there isn't much to talk about, so I told you the first story that came to my mind.
Speaking of which, the lake.
Slavya looked at the water.
Let's go swimming.
I'm not really fond of that. I don't even have anything to swim in.
Oh, come on.
She gave me a captivating smile. Well, I don't know, really. Of course, I was eager to agree, but I still hesitated.
Oh, come on.
Slavya laughed, ran off the lake, unbuttoning her shirt on the way. Well, I stood up from the sleeping bag and slowly headed her way. When I came closer, Slavya was already splashing in the lake with all her clothes left lying around.
Come here.
Well, I'm not sure if I want to, I mumbled slowly.
Come on, it's so fun in here.
She didn't seem to feel awkward about my presence at all. Well, I wanted to turn away at first, but here's a question. What is more appropriate here? If Slavya thinks it's okay and I act awkwardly, won't it offend her? But that isn't the most important thing right now. I didn't bring my swimming trunks. I guess that wasn't the most suitable excuse at the moment.
So, neither did I.
Slavya said with a voice a level quieter.
Don't be afraid.
I'm not. There's nothing to be afraid of.
So get in.
I didn't know what to say. I probably wanted to comply, but with everything happening some other way, not in such a spontaneous and random manner. And really, why is Slavya so friendly to me? Or is there something more to it than that? Then I really don't get it.
It's up to you,
she said disappointedly.
Light the fire then.
What for?
Because when I'll get out, I need a way to dry myself.
Oh yes, fine. Oh, come on, dude! You're totally blowing it! I quickly went back to the sleeping bag, picking up branches on my way. Collecting firewood wasn't a problem at all, but how do I light a fire? I had neither a matchbox nor a lighter. Like every educated person, I knew that it's possible to do it by rubbing one stick against the other, but I've never done this before. Well, I had no other ideas. I started to drill one stick into another slowly. I was lucky that the sticks were dry enough, because otherwise, I'd have no chance at all. Actually, I was quite skeptical about my chances, but just after a minute, some smoke appeared, and faint fire flared up, dying out a moment later. At least it was clear that I could handle this way of starting a fire. It took me another 20 minutes of suffering, but in the end, I had a small fire burning next to the sleeping bag. I was throwing more sticks into it lazily. This is how it turns out. Man can adapt to anything, and so I could probably even survive in a snowy forest. My survivalist thoughts were interrupted by Slavya, who suddenly appeared right above me.
Wow, you're good!
I lifted my gaze and quickly turned away. She was wearing a shirt, but thanks to its dampness, it wasn't hiding much. It wasn't a problem in the lake, but it's quite different when she's so close.
One wouldn't get lost with you.
I sat with her back against mine.
I hope it will dry off quickly.
Somehow I was hoping so too.
So what?
What? I asked with a muddled voice.
Tell me something else.
I don't really know. I felt like something was stuck in my throat. Storytelling was definitely out of the question.
You've gotten so stiff suddenly.
Really? Why would I? It's nothing, just I had a feeling that I won't be able to just sit like that any longer. Animal instincts were clouding my mind. You think this is normal?
What?
Sitting like this?
What's wrong with it?
Seems like Slavya really didn't understand. Well, you are. Do you really not get it? I sighed hopelessly.
Well, I'm not really sure.
Her voice sounded cunning.
What do you think?
Well, I...
Maybe we shouldn't hold back?
Her words flashed through my head. She's giving her consent? Oh! Oh! Sexy time! Sexy time! Something wonderful happened between us, something that I couldn't even dream of 6 days ago. Maybe here it is, the reason for me being in this camp.
That was amazing.
Yeah. For a while, we just lay close to each other. Isn't it weird that I'm voicing two characters that have sex with each other? Yeah, isn't that weird? My mouth is an orgy. I should really think before I speak. Oh god. For a while, we just lay close to each other.
It's getting chilly.
Hang on. I unfolded the sleeping bag and we got inside together. Slavya rested her head on my shoulder.
Mind if I take a quick nap? I just feel so tired.
Sure, go ahead. Soon her breathing became deep and steady. The wind quietly rustled the leaves on the trees around us. The grass was swaying next to us, and tiny bugs buzzed annoyingly overhead. I hope it's not the same ending over and over again, but with different characters. Like with Alyssa, it was the band. I'm hoping that it's different every time, and it's not just the band every time. But I don't know. I won't know until this actually happens. The tiny bugs buzzed annoyingly overhead. Suddenly I realized this was the best place I have ever seen in my life. Thinking that, I fell asleep.
Sleepy time.
Oh god, oh god, oh god. Ooh, it's misty and scary. I opened my eyes and saw the top of an oak roaring above. A strong wind had risen, chilling me to the bone. The moon was full and staring right at me. Night has fallen. Couldn't really tell what time it was, but it didn't matter much. Slavya was still asleep. I tucked the sleeping bag around her cozily, got dressed and headed to the lake. I was really thirsty and there weren't any other options available. Besides, I don't think the water here is poisonous. We're not around Chernobyl or anything. At least, I want to believe that. I scooped up some water eagerly, dipped my face into my hands. The water tasted so good that it felt like it came from a spring, not a lake. My reflection stared at me, blurred in the water and touched by the moonlight. It seemed to be smiling. Weird. I didn't even notice. Overjoyed, I headed back, fully intending to sleep till morning, and a twig snapped nearby. I turned to see what made the noise and saw someone behind a tree. "Who's there?" I called out, worried.
There's no need to scream like that, brah.
The voice seemed so familiar.
Oh, it's Lena!
Came closer and saw Lena. "What are you doing here?"
Taking a walk.
"At this time?"
What? I can't?
No, it's just strange. I leaned against a tree and pondered. She's definitely here for a reason. Besides, we barely made it here. You can't reach this lake on a walk. Even at night, Slavya sleeping a dozen steps away was in clear view. And?
What?
Were you going to say anything?
Am I supposed to?
It's up to you.
I don't get what you're saying.
Okay, been here for a while?
Well, not that long.
How long is that?
Not long.
Lena snapped. Alright, is that all?
I don't know.
We stood silently for a while longer.
You should probably get back. Slavia will get cold.
So you saw?
It was hard not to see.
If you think that...
Well, what am I supposed to think, huh? Seems as clear as day.
I guess. So you're not gonna say anything?
What is there to say? After your show at the square today, words don't seem to be needed.
There was no show. We just... It's like I'm justifying myself, Dora. That's none of your business anyway.
Exactly. It's your business. Just be careful, watch out.
What are you talking about?
If everything comes to you so easily, you probably won't value it much. Though you should.
I don't get it.
Well, like Slavia, bam, this time it's magical. And then you do it another time, and another, and then you get tired of it. Maybe.
Lena paused.
That's what I'm saying. You need to cherish what you have, and even if you don't put much effort into getting it.
If you think I'm treating this like a game, you're totally wrong.
I don't think that, but it's possible.
Besides, How about staying out of things that are none of your business?
I'm just giving you advice.
I don't remember asking for it.
I think you should pay more attention to what you're doing and planning to do, so you don't feel any torturing regrets later on.
Look, this is starting to sound like a threat. Huh, it really is.
Well, maybe so.
Lena said mysteriously. So you...
No, not at all. Not now. Not to be precise.
She added in a whisper. Lena turned and headed into the depths of the forest. I didn't stop her. When she was almost gone from sight, I noticed something in her hand blinking in the moonlight. What a strange girl. I sighed and returned to Slavya. The warmth of her body kept me from the cold in the night. I hope I was keeping Slavya warm as well. Oh, is it day 7? Is it day 7 now? Is it day 7? Oh, it's day 7! Oh, it's day 7! Oh, it's day 7! Yes! Sorry for my retardedness. I woke up with the first rays of sun because of the cold. Obviously, the sleeping bag was warm, and it hadn't had enough time to be covered with hoarfrost. But still, it was a novelty for me to spend the night in the forest. Carefully, in order to avoid waking Slavya up, I got out of the bag. The fresh morning air finally dispelled my drowsiness, and the serenity of last night swept over me. I guess it was the happiest moment of my life. Intimacy, tenderness, love, passion. All those emotions interlinked in me during those short hours. I looked at Slavya, and she was beautiful. Her face was set in a motionless expression of absolute tranquility and peacefulness. I guess that's how angels sleep. As I had no wish to wake her up, I just sat down by her side and observed the way the morning began. Nature. The fresh dew, light wind, dancing tree leaves, and patches of sunlight in the water used to be alien to me yesterday. The concrete jungles of a huge city were the only forest I'd known before. And if someone had told me that I could just sit and enjoy things like that, despite the night cool and annoying mosquitoes without computer or internet, I definitely wouldn't have believed them.
Good morning.
I looked at Slavya. Morning, did you sleep well?
Better than ever.
Me too. She reached out and kissed me. Oh, that's so sweet! The kiss seemed everlasting. Summer! And I just dissolved in her.
Having breakfast would be great.
Slavya finally spoke, letting go of me. Yeah, I guess so.
Do you know what time it is now?
No, but I think it's still early.
I hope the canteen is already open. I'm so hungry.
Me too. We got our things and walked to the camp holding hands. The canteen was indeed open, and strangely, we were its first visitors. It wasn't a surprise that breakfast wasn't all that luxurious. Oatmeal, 2 eggs, dry bread, and watery tea. You know, I never liked the local food.
Me neither, to tell you the truth.
Slavya laughed. But there is no choice, and it is quite good on an empty stomach.
That's right.
Unlike me, she was eating carefully. And I was dropping porridge on my shirt and spilling tea over myself as usual.
Do you always eat like this?
Anything wrong with that? I asked with a mouthful. She just laughed. Oh, no, not always, but it happens when I'm really hungry. Of course, I can be more civilized. Well, I can try at least.
No worries, it's nothing.
Oh, but if she's picking at it now, she'd pick at it later! Soon we finished breakfast and went to the exit. Oh, fuck me. Can you just get out of my face, bruh? No sooner had I noticed that we were still the only people in the canteen than Olga appeared on the threshold.
Oh, it's you. Well, I won't ask where you spent the night, so is it...
The camp leader was obviously embarrassed.
Good morning to you too, Olga.
Slavya said with a bright smile.
Yes, morning. Morning. Okay, just don't forget to pack your things. We won't.
What does she mean? Some hike again? I asked Slavya when we left the canteen.
No. Today is the last day. Have you forgotten?
Last day of what?
Last day of the term.
To say that her words struck me dumb was an understatement. How? Why?
Why so surprised? Didn't you know? It was announced during the lineup.
But even at those lineups which I attended, I was just sleeping on my feet. No.
Now you know.
Slavya smiled naturally. And what should I do? Her words stirred a massive emotions inside of me. On one hand, I'll get out of this cursed camp at last. I might get some answers. On the other, I've just found out something very important to me and now I have to let it go?
What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. And when is the departure?
In the evening at 5 or 6 o'clock.
Well, still a lot of time.
Yes, but I have some things to do. And I should find Xenia. She might be worried since I was absent for the whole night.
Oh well, worrying is so much like her.
See you at lunch.
Slavya gave me a kiss on the cheek and ran away. I kept standing at the canteen's entrance. I had absolutely nothing to do. Nothing to pack. So the only thing to do was to wander around the camp till evening and think. I would give anything to be able to empty my head for this 10 hours. A voice pulled me out of trance. Hello, brah! Electronics stood before me, as merry as usual. You too, I replied absent-minded. You know, the whole camp is talking about you, brah. I guess I know why. So you did it already, brah? He asked, giggling. Do you really think that concerns you? Yeah, see, I'd be the exact same as Semyon right there. Well, no, brah, brah, we're bras, brah. We need to know about these things, brah. Then keep quiet. Leaving him alone with his speculations, I walked to the square. Why does he behave in a way that drives everyone mad? Although it's probably just me he maddens. Ah! I was completely immersed in my thoughts, not looking around, and didn't notice Miku until she'd bumped into me.
Oh, sorry, I should be more careful. I was lost in thought and I didn't notice you. You know it happens. Oh, and... Hi.
I looked through her and kept walking.
Oh, Semyon, wait a second. What's up with Slavya? Tell me. It's so interesting. It seems that everyone in the whole camp except me knows about it. No, not that I'm curious, but since everything is all so serious...
Saying that she's not curious is like denying a universal truth. Nothing special. I answered without turning back. Am I doing good? Am I doing Miku's voice good? The way that she talks fast? Because apparently that was described as that?
Well, if you don't want to...
I tried to isolate myself from the outside irritation, so Miku's other words passed by. The square scenery was soon replaced by the beach. Luckily, the juvenile gem of the Soviet pop scene wasn't around. I took place on the sand and started gazing at the river. Why on earth is the whole camp so interested in my relationship with Slavya? In my word, well, nobody would have said a word. Well, you see, Slavya is a fucking celebrity in this world. That is why. And you're a pioneer who had just appeared out of nowhere. At least, not out loud. At least you don't hear things that they say behind your back. For now, I was ready to endure gossip, just as long as I don't have to report to everyone about my private life. The sun was rising higher and higher, and I was nodding off. My eyes were already closed when I suddenly heard someone sitting down next to me. Oh, come on! My first love! No! It was Alyssa.
Congratulations!
Meaning?
Don't you know?
Yeah, it doesn't take an Einstein to work it out. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of this. Everyone here just has to mention it. Enough!
And what did you expect? Is it out of the ordinary for the camp? I would even say it's exceptional.
She laughed.
And to show the camp leader life just like that, even Oyana couldn't manage. Me neither, probably.
I didn't know how to respond to that, or whether it was a compliment or mockery. You know, you're making too big a deal out of it. There's nothing unusual for me. Moreover, I don't understand why you have to poke your nose into my life. Don't you think it's just my personal business and nobody else's?
Maybe so, maybe so.
Alyssa said mysteriously. We sat silently for a while. I wanted her to leave as soon as possible, but Alyssa was watching the pioneers on the beach, and it didn't seem that she was planning to go anywhere.
So, what are you gonna do next?
What are you talking about?
Today's the last day.
Yes, so what?
Everyone will leave.
So?
And Slavya will leave too.
And you will leave too, so?
You'll break up.
I know that already. Thank you. Obviously.
What do you think about that?
What should I think? I can't stay here forever.
Of course you can't. But what will you let her go just like that?
No. I mean, what can I do? Frankly speaking, I really had no idea what to do next. My head was a complete mess. I'll be able to get out of here. That was the most important thing for me during last week. And now, I have to answer a much more difficult question. How did summer romances end for common Soviet teenagers? And my romance was a summer one for sure. They just went home and that was it. They could live thousands of kilometers away from each other. In my case, in different worlds. It's not like one can come up with a decent solution for such a problem in a couple of hours.
Like I know. It's up to you to decide.
Alyssa grinned, stood up, and ran to the river. I know I'm kind of butchering her voice that I originally gave her, but it's hard when you don't do that voice every day. There was only about half an hour till lunch, so I slowly walked to the canteen. Pioneers hadn't managed to occupy all the free tables, so I was able to choose quite a good place, but to my regret, not my favorite one in the corner. I was just about to start eating when somebody abruptly pulled a chair at the table near me and took a seat.
Hi there! How are you?
It was Oyana, an extraordinarily polite version of her. I was fine until now. I sneered.
Oh, come on, better tell me, what are you gonna do?
Eat. I sighed.
I'm not talking about that. The session's over, you and Slavya are gonna part. What's next?
It's like my future is the priority issue for all the local residents. Hey, what really is the matter?
Just curious.
Curious about what? I don't ask you what are you going to do tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, or in a month. Why do you have to get into someone else's life?
I'm not getting into anything.
Oyana said, offended. I'm not really good at all that stuff. True enough, you're still a kid.
So you've got to explain, since you're the adult here.
I want to try and give her the sarcastic voice every time she does that face, because it looks fucking sarcastic. What should I explain?
So you're going to stay in touch through letters, right? And then you're going to go to this camp next summer together?
Talking through letters. It sounds so wild to me. And I don't mean the idea of paper sheets and envelopes. I mean the possibility of losing Slavya for a year, or probably even longer. Or forever.
So what? May I join you?
I raised my eyes and saw Slavya standing near me with a food tray.
Okay, it's time to go!
Oyana jumped and dashed off to a corner of the canteen.
What were you talking about?
You know her, and what could we possibly be talking about? Slavya smiled. Took care of your business?
Yeah, now I'm completely free. I can help you pack your stuff.
It's not like I've got much to pack.
Well then, you can help me with my stuff.
Sure. That was a perfect opportunity for a quiet talk with her. Although I had not the slightest idea of what I should talk about. Soon enough, we finished our meal and headed to Slavya's cabin. Oh, it was so clean and tidy! Jesus Christ! Everything in it was clean and neat, unlike Olga's cabin.
Oh, I'm not sure what I should start with.
She took out a travel bag and started to rummage through the cabinet. Meanwhile, I sat on the bed and started to gather my thoughts. Do you have any plans for after the camp? What are you gonna do?
Well, you know.
She raised her eyes to mine and gave me a smile.
I'll go back to school.
Yeah.
And you?
What about me? It's not like I'm really considering going to high school for a second time. I mean, tell me about it. High school sucked. Well, me too, I guess. Although I don't really feel like going back to my city. Seriously speaking, even if I felt like going back, I had nowhere to go anyway.
Why?
Just because there's nothing to do there, nothing at all. There's no one waiting for me there.
But your parents?
My parents? Well, you know, they're not there now.
But why? But where are they then?
They're sort of working abroad.
Ah, so you're one lucky guy.
She smiled merrily. Why?
They'll send you foreign stuff and all.
I wouldn't call my situation lucky as such. Well, anyway.
Don't be upset.
She really looks like she doesn't understand what I'm saying. I'm not upset about it. And it was true.
Then what's up?
Many things.
For example?
Well, for example... I was about to begin a vast outburst of my situation and my wish not to have to part with Slavya when the door was flung open with a bang and Xenia entered. There you are!
Yes, we're packing.
I see, it's a good thing I didn't come 10 minutes later, or I would have disturbed your packing. Slavya blushed and kept on stuffing her things inside the bag anxiously. What's up, heroic lover boy? That form of address gave me the creeps. What? Nothing! She stared at me intently for some time. Watch it. Now more than just yourself depends on your choices. I didn't reply, and with those words of Xenia left the cabin.
What did she mean?
I think you can never know for sure. And yet, well, I wanted to talk to you about it myself. I was able to start, but then...
About what?
Slavya looked at me carefully. It's just today we're leaving, right?
Right.
And we'll move back to our cities.
Well, yeah.
And when will I see you again? Slavya grew thoughtful.
I don't know.
And I don't know either.
But you could write me letters.
She smiled, but her smile didn't bring me peace of mind. Yes, of course, but you know, that's not the same.
What is it then?
Can I go with you? I decided to take a chance and speak plainly.
And what will you do there?
Slavya seemed to not be surprised, but a bit vexed.
Studying my parents? What will people say?
I wasn't thinking about the opinions of other people, and to be honest, they didn't worry me much. Well, we can always find a way.
What way?
We'll think of something.
Semyon, we are too young for this.
In fact, I'm not. So what?
Maybe after some time.
How much time do you need? A year? 2 years? 5? Oh my god, dude, you sound like a shit person right now.
You say it as if I don't know.
She seemed confused, so everything that happened here was just a holiday romance? I started to get angry.
No, of course not, just...
What?
I'm not ready to discuss it right now. Let's talk about it later.
When later? We only have a couple hours left till departure. Slavya said nothing and continued to pack her things. I'd expect almost any kind of reaction from her. But not this. In fact, she just pushed me away. Turns out she doesn't need to continue our relationship. So I'm not that important to her. Look, I still don't understand.
What?
I asked Slavya without turning. Why don't you want...
And how did you expect it to be?
Well, I can find a job, rent an apartment.
And what can you do? Do you at least have a school leaving certificate?
In fact, yes, it's lying somewhere in the closet. That's not important here.
Why not?
If you have a goal, you can overcome any obstacles. Moreover, they are not that big.
That's what you think.
Maybe you are right, but anyway, I can't understand your reaction. After all, if we just leave, that's all. That's the end.
I didn't say that.
But it's obvious.
Where did you get that idea from?
She shouted. Perhaps it was the first time I'd seen Slavya like this. Well, you fucking pissed her off, that's for sure. I could see that coming from a mile away. Well, let me put it differently. I don't just want to go back to the place where I live, and to communicate with you only by letters or phone, hoping for a chance to meet.
It'll be hard for me too.
Well, what's the problem then?
You know, not everything is up to us.
Who is it up to then? Although no one would know how right she is better than I, if it was all up to me, I would have never found myself here.
There are norms of society, laws, morality, ethics after all.
And what do those have to do with anything? Are all those that important?
If they're not so important to you, they are important to me.
Okay, I'm even ready to behave accordingly to your standards, but there is something more important.
Maybe, but I can't, so suddenly.
You don't have much time to think. I paused for a moment to gather my thoughts. I can only offer myself, because it's the only thing I've got. Moreover, I don't know what might happen to me in an hour, but I'm sure that whatever happens, if I start from scratch, I want to start with you.
You're speaking so beautifully, but imagine how I feel. For you it's all so simple, but I have my own life that I'm used to, and to change everything just like that...
I had one before too, I said softly.
What?
I'm saying that it's inevitable. Changes are a part of life. You cannot change. You cannot live without facing them. Slavya looked thoughtful, stood still for some time, holding her bag in her hands, then came up to me, sat beside me, and put her head on my shoulder.
Okay, I believe you. If you say so, then let it be.
At that moment, I felt perfect happiness. Doesn't matter that a week ago I was in a completely different world, living another life. All of that is gone, and now it seemed to me like something wild or alien. I don't even understand how I could consider that normal. Now, I am less concerned about how and by whose will all this happened. Now I'm not looking for answers. Why would I? When they're all right here in front of me. Now I have a long road ahead, hand in hand with the person I love. And looking back makes no sense. I could sit here forever, not noticing the time, but Slavya finally looked at the clock and gently whispered in my ear,
"It's time."
Yes, exactly. You go to the bus stop and I'll run to the camp leader's cabin and get my things.
You're so disorganized. You should have gathered them in advance.
Laughed Slavya. I don't have much to pack anyway. I leapt out of the house and ran towards Olga's cabin. The camp leader stood on the threshold, apparently waiting for me.
I thought you wouldn't come.
I didn't reply, just bounded inside, packed my winter clothes into a bag, and ran out.
Come on already, it's time.
In a minute, we stood at the bus stop together with the other pioneers.
Everyone's here?
Began Olga.
You're leaving our camp today, and I'd like to tell you all something in parting. She was visibly nervous and desperately lost for words. I hope that you'll remember the time you spent here for a lifetime, and that you'll retain only pleasant memories about Sovyanok. I also hope that you become at least a little bit better, managed to learn something and found new friends. Just come back next year. The camp leader turned away. It seemed she was trying to hold back her tears. I didn't expect her to get so emotional, but I completely agreed with everything she said. Perhaps it was the first time that I didn't turn a deaf ear to her. I think I'll miss this camp, and even Olga. Although, if this is the start of a new life, then why not come back here one more time? That's because you're not gonna come back here one more time, bro. Just saying, that's the sad part about that, yo. Sovyanok was far behind. This week had passed like an instant, and come to an end, but that was the beginning of something new. My life in a new world, together with Slavya. The moon was shining, making everything as bright as day. Beyond the bus windows, endless fields were passing, on occasion dressed up in grey but no less cheerful outfits, decorated in the distance with the dark green of the mighty forest. One thing I want to know about Slavya. Does she wear Adidas? Just asking. Anyway, the surroundings were the least of my concerns now. I was enjoying the moment. Slavya and I were sitting in the last row looking at the other pioneers. Ahead, Olyana was going wild. She was running through the cabin and shouting. Lena was reading a book, and Alyssa was sleeping. Seems like this world is absolutely normal. And it doesn't really matter how I got here. If everything turned out so wonderfully, I became a different person. Met Slavya. What are you thinking about?
Life.
And how's it going?
Just great. She laughed softly. You know...
Let it wait a little. The bus is rocking me to sleep. I'll take a nap if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead. She rested her head on my shoulder and soon fell asleep. Oh, my heart's gonna break! I mean, I already know that this is... I already know the ending to... Like, I don't know the ending, but I know how this is going to end. But damn! The imminent arrival at the district center and a new chapter of my life didn't worry me at all. When you're on top of the world, small things don't bother you. Therefore, I fell asleep as I felt tired with no fear of anything. Don't close your eyes! Oh, my heart's broken. Day ... There are dreams that you don't want to wake up from. It's like one is floating down a warm river towards a place far beyond the horizon, blissfully watching the vain world, hidden behind the clouds. The past is left behind. It echoes, do not tear your soul. And the future is right here. You just have to reach out. It doesn't matter what is waiting you there. The very process of immersing yourself in this fairy world of serenity and happiness is itself much more important. I've always believed that the universe was once in this state, and one day it will return to it again, and I just spat on my monitor. Our life is just a blink of an eye, just a second in comparison to the universe. The birth and death of the stars is a minute, and those of galaxies are ours. But even all of that, all put together, will not even be a day. Nobody thinks how to live each specific second, so does it really matter what each drop in a stormy river running beyond the horizon of existence does? Fuck me, this is poetic as shit! I know I'm ruining it with my attitude, but... Oh, God! I opened my eyes and stretched blissfully. I had no desire to stand up as I felt like I was in perfect bliss, muffled in a blanket. After all, I don't have to go anywhere, as usual actually. I don't have any plans, so why shouldn't I just sleep? I rolled over, stared at the old worn wallpaper covering the curved wall. I wonder how long ago the last time they renovated this room was. Why does here have wallpaper instead of bare wood anyway? Vague warning bells began ringing somewhere deep in my mind. I threw the blanket away, jumped up, and furiously began to look around. Yes, I was in my flat again. At first I was paralyzed. The shock was so strong that my brain was unable to process what was going on. I just stood and gazed on the screen of the monitor on the table opposite me. Couldn't think. I even forgot to breathe. Finally, my mind began to clear. What happened anyway? I fell asleep on the bus, going to a district center. Yes, something like that. And Slavya was sitting by my side. Now I'm back here. Seems like during the week I spent there in the camp, I'd gotten so used to the fact that I'd never returned to my previous life, that now I just have no idea how to react to all of this. After all, at first my main wish was to get home. But in the end, everything was like in a bad movie. At last, I'd come back, but I'm still shocked. No, I felt no fear. I was rather interested and upset. After all, I'd already made up my mind to start a new life with Slavya, leaving all my problems behind, insults, suffering, self-examination, unfinished affairs, and plans for the future. Obviously, that life could not be worse than this one, at least. But there's no returning to it now. On the other hand, if someone had told me a week ago that I would be sent into a different world just like that, in the blink of an eye, I would not have believed him. So what makes such a fantastic event happening again so impossible? Moving my legs with difficulty, I went to the kitchen, got a glass of water, and returned to the room. The ice-cold liquid with the disgusting aftertaste of bleaching powder revived me to some degree. Now I have to decide what to do next. Suddenly I realized that I could not bear all the silence. After turning the computer on, I launched a random song and the player managed to calm down somewhat. And seriously speaking, what can I do? Recently I realized that absolutely nothing is up to me. By someone's will, I was pulled out of my usual world and then sent back. No answers were found during the week in the camp. What's the point in speculating now? I must forget everything that happened. Like a bad dream. Maybe those were just hallucinations. I don't really care now. The only thing that prevented me from completely forgetting the short period of my life was Slavya. I recalled her smile and all the time we spent together. From the meeting on the very first day to the night in the forest and our departure from the camp. My heart furiously jumped inside my chest. spreading oppressive pain all throughout my body. I liked her at first sight. So gentle, caring, understanding. Just like that anime heroine. What was her name? The one who helped an antisocial fellow like me deal with depression? And if you think about it, there are no such people in real life. Slavya asked nothing in return, needed no encouragement, never expected to be understood or praised for her work. She was just being herself, a girl that cannot exist in real life. If you think clearly, that's really exactly what she was. It seems like I've seen one single week-long dream. About the pioneer camp, Soviet teenagers and their camp leader, about warm summer nights and gathering around a fire, about light-hearted children's games and simple human joys, about one moment that lasted a week and the everlasting summer. But not just seen, I've been there. I was a part of everything. My eyes unwillingly filled with tears. Not tears of pain or despair, tears of sorrow and bright melancholy. Even if everything is over, I experienced something that most people could never even dream about. Slavya's image flashed in my head, brighter and brighter. I would love so much for her to return from that camp with me. Maybe I have nothing to offer her now, but my entire life is still ahead of me. I guess I learned a lot of useful lessons from these events. I couldn't help thinking that it all seems too perfect, like it was written according to some simple plan. A loser, a fantastic incident, and a wonderful transformation. I guess it's not possible. Not in this life. Will I become the person I was before only a day or a week later? Well, it's the most realistic course of events. One thing's for sure, I'll never be able to go back. Oh, now that's just sad. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see where he goes. After about a month has passed since I returned from Slavya, or to say it more correctly, since I woke up. I returned to my usual life as a loner, surfing the internet for days, going outside only to shop. As expected, it began to suit me again. Well, obviously, moments of melancholy and depression occurred. A person like me just can't do without them. They lasted no longer than usual. Except those times when, while sleeping, I returned to that summer, that mysterious camp. But after awakening, I tried to banish these thoughts as soon as possible. After all, what's the point in dreaming of becoming a wizard? Even if miracles happen, and I was proof that they do, they happen completely independent of us. And the word sweet doesn't give you a sweet taste regardless of how often you pronounce it. But nevertheless, something has changed from my existence. Formerly, I didn't think ahead, and didn't really care how long I would live. Whether 1 week or 40 years. But now, I look forward to it with optimism. Not like I try to change anything or to become a different person, but the world now seems more understandable. Not simple, not friendly, no. Not friendly at all, but just understandable. Before I couldn't cope with some events or facts, though I kind of realized that they were there for some reason. Now I started seeing life as something simpler. What happens, happens for the best. Or at least it happens and I can live with it. And if I can't, I'm powerless in that case. I guess I started smiling more often, or at least I didn't carry that look of deep universal frustration 24/7. Even my acquaintances on the internet, obviously, noticed some change to me, and their opinions agreed that these changes are good. Now I think I'm ready to live on, thanks to Slavya and its inhabitants. Without them, I wouldn't be able. It was the beginning of January. The city had barely recovered from the New Year hangover. The streets were almost empty during the day, not to mention the nights when the only stranger walking down the street seemed extremely busy with some business, rushing somewhere for a reason that couldn't wait. I had no such reason, I just decided to have a little walk. It's necessary to get some fresh air sometimes. A winter's night is the best time to be alone with yourself. I always thought that true solitude can be felt in a crowd, rather than in a burning, hot desert, boundless plain, We're on top of a mountain covered with snow. In the stream of people, words, thoughts, and aspirations, everyone had their own aim and direction. And I was the only one strolling among them, deserving no attention from others. Maybe they were like vectors, moving in different directions? They never met at Cartesian coordinates. It's the same thing here. These people are walking, running in one direction, and I'm dragging along in the other. But did I feel lonely? Before, yes, but now, highly unlikely. In the bright, blinding lights of the city, the noise of cars, and the swirling crowds, I enjoyed a heavenly symphony of silence. But now the situation is slightly different. There is just me in the street, so I am alone, not only with my own self, but within the whole world. Being a sand grain in a desert is not the same thing as being a water drop in an ocean. In the crowd, nobody noticed me, nobody paid any attention, but now everyone who peeks out the window or see me while driving past will think, why can't he just stay home? Maybe he has some urgent matter? Suppose he's mad? Or is he just drunk? I never like standing out from the crowd when it is inappropriate. So opposing society was never an option for me. But now it was different. As if I tried to tell everybody, look, I can be happy too. You need your TV and your hot chocolate, but I just need the snow, the night, a dark room, and a dull monitor screen. Look, and I'm not any worse off than you. I felt sadness in my heart, but it was a serene sadness. Do I really need the things that they have and I do not? Maybe I have something much more valuable. Oh, it's the bus stop. I didn't notice how I came to the bus stop of 410 route. This brings back memories. I sat down, rummaged in my pockets, trying to find cigarettes. However, the packet was empty. Fine. I crumpled it up and threw it in the bin. Maybe I'll get healthier. A lonely star was shining in the sky. Today I read on the internet that, according to the calculations of scientists, one of the most beautiful astronomical events has already ceased to exist and we'll see it in only decades later. Maybe this star has already exploded as well and now it is only a beautiful image in the night sky, somewhere near a lost planet on the edge of the galaxy. However, why does one or another thing exist? Is it simply because it's just there, has shape, and can be touched? Or is it because we believe that it exists? At first thought, the answer is simple. But on the other hand, even if this star is gone, we can still see its cold light. Maybe it helped someone to get out of a snowy winter forest. Gave someone hope, or a bit of warmth to someone else. Could a simple astronomical object that exploded God knows when do all this? Can billions of people believe in something that doesn't really exist? But belief itself never made any object real. At least none that I've ever heard of. The snowfall grew stronger and now it was a real snowstorm. Midnight? Will my carriage turn into a pumpkin in a few moments? Maybe the return of Slavya is the end of my own vision of the Cinderella tale. Even so, is it really a bad end? Why, and any tale contains at least a bit of truth. I remembered Slavya, stood up, shook off the snow, and went slowly into the night. I felt no sorrow, had no regrets. Maybe all this is just another episode of that tale, that warming dream, which I wanted so much to continue. Why can't it repeat, if it happened once already? And what if I meet Slavya in reality? Oh, fuck! That would be great! Is that it? Yep. That was it. Every story has its beginning and its end. Every story has a set line, synopsis, and epilogue. And I've already done that. Well, I mean, sure we didn't get with her in the end, but, I mean, that wasn't such a bad ending for the dude himself. I mean, I'd call it more of a neutral ending, to be honest, more than a bad ending. I mean, it wasn't so bad. But, I mean... Anyway... Let's just, let's... Well, I'll save this anyway. I'll save it here. Let's go and do the good ending. Yes, we shall. We will go and do the good ending. Return to the main menu. Yes, I will. New game. And let's do the good ending. Good ending. Okay, this shouldn't take too long at all. I'll just say, yes, I'll come with you. And go through all of that. So, I got a reply. Hey, Slavya, reply. And then, go get the cards with Slavya. After it keeps on going. Hurry up, come on, come on, come on, come on. I hope I didn't do wrong by that. And I'll take the keys. I'll keep silent with Lena. Oh, calm down. Come on, let's keep going. Oh, I have to go through all this junk too. Music club. Infirmary. And library. And boom. And is that it? Go get the cards with Slavya. Don't bet and lose tournament. Don't bet. And skip tutorial. Lose against Alyssa. Go to the bus stop. So we see Slavya out dancing. And, okay, so nothing to do with you. So we'll skip you off. Olga asked me to help. Who cares? Gotta keep looking for answers. And I'd rather help Slavya. Boom. We run away. After all that stuff happens. And that. Keep on going. Yeah, we have really skipped a lot, actually. Yeah, God, we have skipped a lot. Okay, and go to Olga's house. Still a stupid idea. Okay, so I've already done all that. Okay, so then I do all this stuff. And don't go with Miku, but she'll probably take me anyway. Just asking. And stolen candies. And do not ask about the bundle. I won't give Alyssa the carbon. Really? Doesn't seem so. What, do I have to... What, do I have to toss my lunch all over the place for you to believe me? I don't know what terrible things can be done with activated carbon, but I'm sure you'll think of something. She hesitated. And what if you're right? There! I knew it! Then I'm certainly not giving you anything. Alyssa tried to get to the drawers, but I blocked the pillbox with my chest like Alexander Matrosov. For all her impudence, she was still just a girl, and she had no chance of pushing me aside. Whatever, I'll find it somewhere else. She turned away and headed to the exit. At the door, Alyssa stopped and looked back. By the way, the camp leader and nurse are carrying a pioneer with a broken leg. I really don't care, but they seem to be struggling. Yeah, sure. Come see for yourself. Alyssa seemed to be lying, but on the other hand, as long as I can see her. I came to the door and looked outside. No one was there. Where exactly? They haven't reached here yet, then. She made a helpless gesture. Have fun. I returned to the table and only then realized that one of the drawers was open. How did she make it so quick? I turned my back for just a second, though what evil can come from activated carbon? It's 15 minutes till dinner, and the nurse hasn't been back yet. We won't eat the apple, because the apple be bad. Apple be bad. Go with Slavya. Wait a minute. Carbon. Carbon that she stole from the first aid kit. Why exactly the monument? I could hardly imagine how long she would have to keep on scolding Alyssa if Electronic hadn't popped out at that very moment shouting. I found it, brah. Okay, cool. A shoe. And go with Slavya. And yeah, so not too much is different from this. Okay, so it's right, and then it's left, and then it's right, and then it's left, and then it's right again, and then it's left again. Boom! Right, left, right, left, right, left. It's so easy. All that's done. Go to the canteen. Side option to get a CG with Miku that you can't get during her route. Okay, kitchen dining hall. On day 5. I'm pretty sure this is day 5. I always took good of my health. And Miku. No, I won't, you know, I have some things to do. Okay, so this is just an option. I don't know why I agreed, but blah 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 blah. I already did that stuff. Go with Slavya. Thanks for the girl's help. Do nothing, just stay seated. Oh, okay, so this is nothing. This is nothing! Keep on going through, keep on going through. Stay on guard. Think about Miku. Bloody bloody blah. Do nothing, just stay seated. Really? So the only difference between this one and the only difference between the good ending and the bad ending are the last two things. Ah, okay, so try to find Slavya. Unless I did that wrong. I think I did that wrong. I want to get something for Slavya. No reason to justify myself for. I replied calmly. Oh, really? Okay, then. So you think all this is normal? Fine. She paused for a few moments and turned to Slavya. Go to your cabin. I've already read all this junk. And so there's that. I hope I did that right. Let's see if it's any different. Let's see if we get anything different. You think it's only complicated for you? Seems to me that's hard for you too, but for some reason you don't think so. What if I told you that I don't have a place to go back to? That since last Monday there is no more life for me and I have to start from scratch? I don't know. That doesn't sound very reasonable. And it shouldn't, but it's true. And then what? Please explain. I came to this camp by accident. Actually, I'm from another time. Perhaps from another world. From the beginning of the 21st century. And I'm older than I seem. I don't really know how I got here. Slavya stared at me but said nothing. The moments dragged on endlessly. I waited for her to laugh at me, to call me sick, or something even worse. Why are you telling me all this? She finally asked quietly. I want you to understand my situation, but it just sounds stupid. Of course it does. If I were you, I would react the same way. What do you expect from me? I don't know. I just felt that I needed to confess. I'm not saying that you're lying, and I don't think you're crazy, but you have to understand, I just can't accept it. Yes, I understand. I just thought that it would help you to understand my situation and my motivation for my actions. It didn't, to be honest. I sighed in frustration. My opinion hasn't changed, but you better be off. You need to pack your stuff or you'll be late. Let's talk later. I wasn't going to argue. If Slavya hasn't changed her mind after my confession, then it's pointless to press on right now. I feel like I did something wrong. Distressed, I shuffled off to Olga's cabin. Camp leader stood up at the thing, waiting for me, saying that blah 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 blah. She was waiting!
Why are you so gloomy? Did something happen?
No, nothing. Just came to pack my things.
Oh, come on, let it out. You might feel better.
Well, how do you think I can prove that I'm telling the truth to somebody who doesn't believe me?
Are you absolutely sure that you're telling the truth?
Absolutely.
Then perhaps they might just need time to consider.
Except there is no time left.
Then I don't know.
She shrugged her shoulders in dismay. Well, it's something, at least. Tossed my winter clothes into a bag and headed to the bus stop. A couple of days ago, I'd seen the Icarus standing at the gate of camp and waiting for pioneers. I would have been the happiest person in this reality. But right now, I wasn't in the mood to rejoice. There was still plenty of time left until the bus departure time. I sat down on the curb and buried my head in my hands.
Why so sad?
A familiar voice pulled me out of my thoughts. Just...
Had a fight with Slavya?
You could say that.
What's the reason?
She doesn't believe that I'm an alien from the... Yeah, come on! Why'd you say it like that? I smiled ironically.
I wouldn't believe it either,
said Lena seriously. If I were in your shoes, neither would I.
It's not a big deal. You'll make up from a quarrel.
Yeah, but there's not much time left to...
Left to what?
To make the right choice.
Ah, that's different.
After a while, the whole camp assembled together at the bus stop. Everyone's here. Boom, began Olga. You're leaving our camp today. I'd like to tell you something in parting. She was visibly nervous and desperately lost for words. I've already seen all this, but I think it's just part of the ending. So I think it is different. Camp leader turned away. It seems she was trying to hold back her tears. I didn't expect her to get so emotional, although her speech sounded like complete nonsense to me, as usual. There we go! Of course, this is where I met Slavya, but now we were going through a tough time. What will happen next is absolutely unclear. So I didn't care about whether I'll miss this place in Olga or not. Unlikely. When the pioneers started to get on the bus, I pushed through the crowd to Slavya. Let's sit together.
Okay,
she said quietly. I even thought I saw the shadow of a smile on her face. Oh, okay, this is different too. The bus flew across the expanses of my new world. Outside, fields followed forests and then calm rivers and highlands. I felt as familiar with this as if it was my own homeland. Anyway, the surroundings were the least of my concerns now. I was trying hard to find the right words to start a conversation. We'd just been sitting there, probably for a couple hours, but all attempts to strike up a conversation had ended with one-word answers. Forget about what I said before. I don't want to make excuses. I'll say that's not true. It's just now, the most important thing to me is you.
I understand.
She looked at me carefully. Even if I sometimes act the wrong way and talk nonsense, regardless, the main thing for me now is to be with you, and it always will be. I understand that I acted too recklessly and planned stupid ventures, but we can try to make everything right. Together, you and me. Slavya was still gazing at me.
Do you realize that it will be difficult? That you can't just run blindly into the dark? Because then there will be so many problems that we won't be able to solve.
Yes, I understand that now. But for you, I'm prepared for anything. She didn't say a word, but just kissed me gently and put her head on my shoulder. It definitely meant yes. I didn't want to bother her anymore. Let her sleep. Point is that Slavya finally understood what she means to me. She realized that I'll do anything for her sake. And even if I'm overreacting or deciding too early, she's ready to put me on the right path. The path that we'll walk together. Oh, well, isn't that sweet? Night started to claim its rights and the bus settled down to sleep. At first I tried to fight it, but is there any use in enduring and wasting my efforts when the future had finally become crystal clear for me? My eyes shut for just a moment. I think that if he kept his eyes open, like from that 7th day onward, he would have actually stayed in that world. That's what I think. That's what I think. He would have actually stayed in that world if he stayed awake the entire night. That's what I think, anyway. I mean, maybe, maybe not. So what happens next? So all of this, please tell me there's something different. Oh! 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 I was about to leave, but suddenly someone emerged from the solid white veil and ran under the bus stop roof. Yes! 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 It was clearly a girl as she had a long ponytail hanging out of her hood. She stood with her back to me, so I couldn't make out her face.
Excuse me, has the last bus already left?
She asked without turning me. Where can she be heading to so late? The 410 bus must be the most cursed route in the city. Not only does it sometimes takes people away to another reality, but it can even arrive when you want it to. There is one more bus coming, just after midnight, I think.
Thank you.
She smiled. The smile was clear in her voice. For some time I just sat silently, examining the girl. Finally she spoke.
Where are you going so late?
Is it really that interesting for her? Just having a walk, I answered thoughtfully. And you, are you here for something important?
Well, not really, just going home.
Where do you live? I couldn't help asking.
Far away,
she said vaguely. And I live nearby.
It's a good area.
I would say there couldn't be a worse one. I didn't have too many options.
You don't like it?
Don't know, I got used to it by now.
I think that people can be happy anywhere they want.
Perhaps.
Well, think of it. People live at the North Pole, in stations I mean, and in the Sahara Desert, and in many other places. It's the people themselves that are the most important.
It's difficult to disagree with you. My comments sounded so philosophical that I unconsciously smiled.
You don't sound too honest to me.
Now, why would you say that, madame? She laughed quietly.
I think you're a good person.
She turned and... Slavya! Yes! Yes! Yeah! I replied... I realized why her voice, stature, and everything else seemed so familiar to me. Slavya stood in front of me. For a moment, I lost the ability to speak, but just for a moment. Of course, it just had to be a girl who looks like Slavya from my dream. Or am I experiencing the strongest deja vu? The city is not a pioneer camp, and I'm not wearing a uniform, and it's not summer now. Trying to convince myself that it's just an illusion, I decided to ask a question. Have we met before? She carefully inspected me and smiled.
I don't think so, but your face seems—
Oh shit! That sounds familiar! Had you ever been to a pioneer camp as a kid?
Of course not.
She laughed.
When I was born, they'd already been disbanded.
Oh, right.
Although, I had a dream recently.
No way! Me too. I mean, about the pioneer camp.
Maybe that is where we've met.
The girl said seriously, possibly.
By the way, my name is Slavya. Actually, my full name is Slavyana, but everyone calls me Slavya. You can do that too.
I was about to tell her that I know her, but then stopped short. After all, is it that important to know why Slavya from my dream is standing right here, right now in front of me at this frozen stop of the charm bus number 410? After all, there are dreams that you don't want to wake up from. And mine is Semyon.
What a lovely name.
Starts with an S too.
Yeah.
So you live far away, don't you?
Well, not really.
She named the district. I thought it would be somewhere in the south.
Why?
Don't know. Maybe because you look like a pioneer.
Oh, you and your pioneers.
Slavya laughed. Maybe we wouldn't have ever met if not for them.
Why?
Her expression became serious. Just a joke. Listen, do you agree that the world exists because we live in it?
That's like some kind of subjective idealism.
Slavya thought for a bit. The school of philosophy became close to me recently.
Well, I don't know. I'm not that good with these subjects.
What are your subjects then? She smiled.
Different ones.
No doubt.
It's just been a few minutes since we met.
But it seems like it's been much longer.
For some reason, I've got the same feeling.
An awkward pause followed. The snowfall has eased, but there was still no bus. I looked at my watch and assumed that it won't arrive at all. Slavya seemed to feel even colder by now as her cheeks grew more red and her hands were now moving frenetically, trying to warm her body. Seems like the 410 bus is done for today,
I guess.
she said sadly. If you want, I started after pulling myself together.
What?
You can stay at my place.
But we've just met.
She laughed. She didn't seem frightened even a tiny bit. Yes, I understand, but it's so cold outside.
Aren't you afraid?
Slavya looked at me playfully. Me? Should I be?
Who knows? Who knows?
I just suggested it. I don't think anything of that sort. I started to make excuses.
I understand.
She laughed.
If you don't mind, of course.
Even though it seemed impossible, she flushed even more. Should we go?
Let's wait a bit longer. Maybe it will arrive.
Okay. Oh, this is fucking awesome!
So, what do you do in your spare time?
Slavya asked after a while. Well, work at home. Kinda. I just couldn't tell her that I do nothing.
Sounds good.
Why?
Don't know. You have a lot of free time and you don't have to go anywhere and so on.
And you? I asked, trying to change the subject for somehow.
I'm studying.
Getting an ethnographer's degree?
What is that?
Slavya asked seriously. Never mind.
I'll be an ecologist.
Well, a career to be proud of. We chatted about random things and the bus was still nowhere to be seen. It was past 1 already. Time passed by so fast. I guess Slavya understood my thoughts.
Shall we go?
She smiled. I stood up and slowly headed towards my house. She carefully held onto my arm and looked into my eyes.
You know, I'm sure that this year will be better than the previous one.
What? What does she mean by that? Holy shit, that's fucking awesome! We got both the endings. This is good. There it is. Slavia, good end. Every story has its beginning and its end. There we go, guys. We got the good ending and we got the bad ending for Slavia. Who's next? F22 Raptor? Let me know who you want me to, do next. So, I guess everyone, remember to like, subscribe, comment, click on that notification button. I'll see all of you beautiful people in the next video. Bye-bye.